ahead on 12 News, Brooklyn Park's growing number of feathered residents will take you to the neighborhood being overrun by turkeys. Then the buzz over chicken. We sit down with the new store operator of Maple Grove's Chick-fil-A. But first,
over the last 45 years or so, I've seen it get so much better.
What a new study could reveal about the Mississippi River. 12 News starts right now. Decades ago, you didn't need a study to tell you the Mississippi River was polluted. You could see plenty of evidence floating on the surface. Many cleanup efforts over the years have made a dramatic difference in water quality. Now 12 News reporter Shannon Slatton explains how the Minnesota Pollution Control Agency hopes to learn more about the river.
The MPCA is in the middle of an effort to assess the state's waterways. Now it's the Mississippi River's turn to be under the microscope.
It used to be absolutely horrible. There was a scum on the top, you'd see fuel. People would come down here and dump.
Tom Moore remembers a time when his parents wouldn't allow him near the Mississippi River.
We would not go in the water. It was dirty.
But now he calls the river pristine.
Every year it seems to be a little bit better. So I'm happy about that.
A multi-year study by the Minnesota Pollution Control Agency will now see if the water is as clean as Moore thinks it is.
We look at the fish communities, the aquatic insects, do some habitat assessment work. We take water chemistry samples, and it's also that we can assess the condition of our state's waters and make sure they're fishable and swimmable.
Researchers will use this electrofishing boat to stun and then catch the fish.
Go down along the right bank and the left bank and the mid-channel, and we'll collect everything that we can, and then we'll identify everything to what type of fish they are. We'll measure and weigh them.
The type, size, and health of the fish they catch will give researchers insight on water quality, something frequent rivergoers like Tom Moore will appreciate.
I brought my kids down here, now I can bring my grandkids down here and not worry about it.
After the MPCA finishes with the Mississippi River, it will move on to study the state's 4 other major rivers. Results of the studies won't be available for a few years. On the Mississippi, Shannon Slatton, 12 News.
Any waterways that fail to meet EPA standards will go on the impaired waters list and be targeted for cleanup. Meantime, nature enthusiasts in Robbinsdale will have a chance to learn more about the outdoors a little closer to home. So Hockey Park will host a variety of educational programs courtesy of the Three Rivers Park District in October. Robbinsdale officials asked the Park District to help plan different educational and recreational opportunities so people can utilize the relatively undeveloped nature areas.
I think that's part of it. A lot of the park and rec departments have come to us and said we'd like to do an after-school program here, or we'd like to bring our kids out for a summer camp to your parks, but this is now the time when they're saying, well, what about for our local communities and what about close to home? And now that time has come.
Golden Valley, Crystal, and New Hope are also looking to develop a relationship with the Three Rivers Park District. The Robbinsdale event at Sohaki Park will take place on October 19th. Well, there's trouble with turkeys in Brooklyn Park. Some residents say the birds are taking over their neighborhood and they want them gone. Reporter Sonia Goins has more.
This is this morning, 6:30 a.m. out on West River Road and about 105th Lane.
There's no shortage of turkeys along West River Road in Brooklyn Park.
I caught this picture of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of them. And this is a remnant of a turkey that was around probably this morning before I got up. It's laying in my driveway.
Steve Holloman says the wild turkeys are causing trouble in his neighborhood.
There was turkeys on both sides of the road.
He's not the only one who's seen the big birds.
I've never seen so many turkeys. Actually, I didn't even know that they were like in Minnesota.
Kristen Oakley's parents live close to the turkeys' hangout spot.
Like there's never just one just walking. If you see one, you better watch out because there's going to be a bunch more behind it.
I've seen upwards of 40 turkeys in those trees that are behind me here.
The wild turkeys are camping out on Steve's roof. This picture was taken last winter.
They'll take off about where it hits the road, and they'll land on my garage. They'll hop up to the peak, and they walk the peak line, and then they use as a staging area, and then they're back up into the tree off my roof.
I saw them on a roof one day. I'm like, how did they get up there? It's crazy.
The turkeys are not just taking up space, they're also leaving behind a big mess.
That little pile you see right there and that pile right there is turkey droppings.
They've also made their presence known on the walking trail.
I'm not kidding, this spring when the snow melted, I literally had to scoop off the turkey droppings from that path over here.
Steve says the turkey's population in his neighborhood has grown over the past year. He wants the city to do a control hunt. An hunting expert says that he could bait and trap the birds this winter, but it can be very expensive, up to $5,000. It would just depend on how many birds he captures.
I don't want 40 turkeys roosting in that tree this fall or through the winter. That's my goal.
Residents say the turkeys are causing traffic problems.
I mean, they're these big creatures and they're taking up parts of the road, and they don't move that fast if they're just, cruising along there.
And they're not scared of you.
And the birds are bold.
Like, you'll drive and they'll just take their sweet time walking across the
They
road.
do.
And you're like, come on, I got places to be.
In Brooklyn Park, Sonia Goins, 12 News.
The DNR will give a presentation on wild turkeys on Wednesday at 7 o'clock at the Brooklyn Park Community Center. The Hennepin County Sheriff's Office is investigating how a Brooklyn Park man died after he was found unresponsive in a hot tub. Authorities responded to a home early Sunday in the 7700 block of Arlington Avenue North. Investigators say the 57-year-old victim lived at the home. His name has not been released. The medical examiner is working on a cause of death. Well, plans to remodel or completely rebuild the Brooklyn Park Police Station may get a boost this week. Police have been hoping for years to build a heated garage for their patrol cars at the facility on 85th Avenue. That's been on hold while other needs were addressed. Now the City Council is considering a complete remodel that would include a new garage. Council members will look at hiring an architect. Earlier discussions have focused on partially rebuilding the police station at a cost of $5 to $7 million. The complete rebuild would cost just over $9 million. A global manufacturing company based in Maple Plain is expanding to the northwest suburbs. Proto bought a building in Plymouth and is busy getting it ready to house more than 300 employees. 12 News reporter Carissa Wyant has more on the job's impact.
They will be relocated.
Plymouth's new city manager, Dave Callister, knows what might attract new businesses to his city.
It's a good community, and the housing is strong, and the schools, again, are very good. And so I think those are the main attractions in addition to the workforce.
While that doesn't hurt, company officials at Maple Plain-based Proto Labs list other reasons for expanding in Plymouth.
We really searched out a location that was close enough to our headquarters here that we could share management talent, and Plymouth offered a great location, great employee base. It's on the bus line, which we really liked, and most importantly, it was the size building with the power infrastructure necessary for us to be successful.
Proto Labs makes custom machine parts and has locations in Europe and Asia. Now it will have 5 locations in the Twin Cities when the Plymouth site opens.
The community sells itself. We don't generally offer incentives because we are such a good place to be.
The company says the Plymouth facility will employ 350 people, including up to 100 new positions.
Some of the jobs will come here from Maple Plain, but we'll also hire an awful lot of new employees in Plymouth.
Well, anytime you can add 350 jobs to the local economy, it helps the community at large, not only from a tax-based standpoint, but jobs and commerce, and will help the local businesses out quite a bit.
After closing last week on the building, Proto Labs is starting work to have the location up and running by April.
It says a lot about the community and that we have some buildings available to renovate, and to be able to bring a business such as this to the community is a real big positive.
In Plymouth, Carissa Wyant, 12 News.
Proto Labs is moving into an empty building at 2600 Niagara Lane. Company officials say the cost to purchase and renovate the building is $15 million. Well, coming up, Chick-fil-A's big move into the Twin Cities. We sit down with the operator of the Maple Grove store. Then later in sports, a preview of the football teams at Totino-Grace and Benilde St. Margaret's. But first, an AccuWeather forecast that's making up for lost time. Prepare for a hot, sticky week.
Oh no! Whoa! Whoa!
The media blitz is underway for the new Minnesota online marketplace for health insurance. You're looking at the new ad for MNsure featuring a truly Minnesotan icon. MNsure is a result of the Federal Affordable Care Act. It goes live October 1st with policies that would take effect in January. Well, first it was Popeyes, now Chick-fil-A is getting ready to move into the Twin Cities. Chick-fil-A will open up in Maple Grove this October. And in this week's Business Matters, Alexandra Renslow sits down with the new restaurant's franchise operator to find out what the Chick-fil-A brand has to offer the local market.
We are here with Nancy Chrisman. She is opening up the first bricks and mortar Chick-fil-A storefront here in Maple Grove in the fall. You're a Georgia-based company, but tell us what you'll bring to the local marketplace, what the company will.
Well, we, of course, are going to bring great fresh food every day. We prepare, a lot of people in Georgia don't know this, but we prepare the chicken sandwiches every day, fresh in the restaurant. They come in as chicken breasts, and we bread them right there and prepare them fresh. We also have fresh salads, along with a lot of other products, but also one of our signature products would be the fresh squeezed lemonade. We squeeze lemons in the store every day.
Talk a little bit about the job impact, Nancy, because the Maple Grove store is one of 4 opening up in the metro. I know you did a media blitz recently here, but what kind of job impact will it have for Maple Grove?
We hope to initially hire about 80 people. Of course, that's going to depend on how busy we are, and we hope to be very busy, but that should be about 80 people is what we're thinking right now.
Chick-fil-A made national news last year when one of the executives spoke out against same-sex marriage. Do you expect any sort of backlash here in Minnesota where marriage equality is now the law?
We're just here to serve everyone, and so and serve them great food and great service, and that's really what we're about, and that's what we're best at. So you know, everyone is always welcome.
The Maple Grove restaurant is tentatively scheduled to open October 10th in the vacant space next to TGI Fridays in the fountains at Arbor Lakes. Well, coming up, British influence that's riding high in Golden Valley. But first in sports, find out how to get out of a rough spot in the golf course in this week's Golf Tip. Jay Wilcox says that and more when we come back. Jay Wilcox with sports now, and football season is closer than I thought. There's games this week, and these 2 teams that you have a report on today actually play next week.
Yeah, most of the teams getting started next week. There was Hopkins playing a 0-week game and a few others this week, and yeah, it is hard to believe. It is sooner than usual, too, because of Labor Day being so early this year, definitely. They are rivals in every sport except football. That's because Benilde St. Margaret's and Totino-Grace compete in different conferences and classes. John Jacobson profiles the 2 teams in today's prep training camp report.
Benilde St. Margaret's finished 5-5 last season. Maybe a so-so record to some on the outside, but a great year for those inside.
It was the first year in the 21 years that I've been here that we were competitive in every single ball game. We lost 3 in probably the last minute and a half. We played Spring Lake Park really tough and lost that game. And then, of course, we played De La Salle in the section semis, and you know, we come within 2-point conversion of tying it up and going to overtime with a team that was destroying everybody. So I was thrilled because we've never been that competitive.
A lot of guys who endured those close losses are back. Quarterback Keaton Studsrud is a 3-year starter. He both threw and ran for over 1,000 yards a year ago and is a Division I recruit. Most of the Red Knights' other offensive skill position guys return too, including wide receivers Nathan Hanks, John Lager, and Sam Lynch, plus tight end Jack Sims.
Oh, it's nice. I mean, John Lager, he's 6'4". Sam Lynch is probably the most athletic kid on the team. And then Nate Hanks. So we got some new faces to the team also. So yeah, I mean, we got a lot of weapons. I think we'll be passing a lot more this year.
At Totino-Grace, the Eagles are preparing for a rugged schedule. For the second straight year, they play a 6-game Northwest Suburban Conference slate. And their non-conference games, defending Lake Conference champion Edina and 2-time defending state class 6A champion Eden Prairie.
Our eyes are wide open. It's a huge chunk, you know, especially with size of our school, but we made that choice, and so we're excited about it.
Key players include starting linebackers Josh Satars and Kai Barber, running back Kez Flomo, and offensive tackle Braden Kerbita. But the Eagles have some holes to fill, and bumping up to Class 6A for the playoffs will be a challenge, one the Eagles have in the back of their minds.
We don't like to talk about it. We kind of like to take it one game at a time, but I think in the back of our minds, everyone's goal is to make it to state, so we'll see where we go.
Totino-Grace hosts Coon Rapids on August 29th. Benilde St. Margaret's season opener is Friday, August 30th at Albany. While golfers who are able to hit their way out of trouble can save a lot of strokes during a round, this week's Channel 12 Golf Tip shows us some options on hitting from a tough spot in the rough.
I'm Aaron Jacobson with the Rush Creek Golf Academy, here with a tip on course management for you. And you can see I'm in a bit of a predicament. I'm in the rough again. I'm dealing with an overhanging tree here and about a 200-yard shot to the green. So I'm going to give you 3 options. Number 1 would be to take a 6 or 7 iron and just chip it out into the fairway. Try to pick up 20 or 30 yards. What you're going to do for that shot is pretty simple. Keep the ball in the back of your stance, and that's going to help the ball stay low to the ground. And take a chipping motion about knee high, hip high to hip high, somewhere in that range. So that would be to get it conservatively back into the fairway. Option 2 would be to look down there about 100 yards, try to get about halfway to the hole. Grab a 6 or 7 iron, maybe even a 5 iron to keep it below the limbs if you're a high ball hitter, and take a slightly bigger swing. But keep the ball back in your stance so the ball stays low, but shoulder high to shoulder high should get you about 100 yards and back into play. So that would be the medium shot. Now, I'm going to try to go for the green here. Got about 200 yards. I'm going to have to take a full swing. Keep the ball under the tree, so that means I'm putting the ball back in my stance to keep it low. And I got it over, but it landed up in the bunker. I'll take that shot from this situation. Play smart, know your game, know where to hit the ball on your next shot so you can get on the green on your 3rd shot.
Avoiding that tree, a tough thing, Mike. You were talking about being in the woods a few times.
That's not a tough spot. I'm in some really tough spots, but the good ones can get out of it. All right, thank you. Still ahead, something that'll make you look twice. We have an up-close look at some of the coolest and classiest rides around town when we come back. Finally, some classy curb appeal in Golden Valley. And a little music to boot. It was the Royal British Car Show at the Jaguar dealership in Golden Valley this weekend. Car enthusiasts could check out old school Jaguars and Rolls Royces. They could also check out some lesser known cars. Lynn Schulte's Nash Austin was built in Great Britain in 1954. Her car is a rarity. Only 94,000 of them were made.
My car gets me a lot of attention, and most people don't know that much about it, so I really enjoy telling them all about it. And
other cars at the show include a Triumph TR6 and this MGB Roadster. Cool stuff. We'll see you tomorrow.